Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I'm not used to using a mic because I have that teacher voice that I don't usually need a mic. But we have a Zoom link going, so we have a lot of participants who are joining us by Zoom, including my in-laws. So my name is Lauren Morris McLean, and I am the department chair for the Department of Political Science, and I am delighted to welcome the class of 2022. Along with all of your family and friends to our Department of Political Science graduation celebration. So this is always one of our favorite events of the year, but I have to say it's extra meaningful this year for us to be the first in-person graduation that we've had for a couple of years since the pandemic started. So we had to pivot very quickly in May 2020, and we had a pre-recorded graduation video celebration. Students sit in videos. You can see it on our YouTube channel. In May 2021, we were hoping for in-person, but again, we had to do a Zoom video celebration. That was live, so you could tell like our experience with technology was getting better, but it still wasn't the same. We are so excited to celebrate the terrific students who are, the tremendous accomplishments that you have achieved by earning your degree in political science. Let me tell all the rest of the people here, political science is not a cakewalk. It is not easy to get a degree in political science, so these students really worked hard. Before we begin, I'd like to thank a few important folks who have worked very hard to support our graduates to get where they are today. First, I'd like to thank all of our fabulous faculty members who have joined us today. The faculty are the ones who work hard to expose these students to new ideas and get you to think for yourselves. Each of these faculty will be standing up to read some of the names, so you'll meet each of them individually, but a round of applause for all of our faculty. So I'd also like to thank our amazing staff for helping to organize this fabulous picnic lunch and graduation event. I want to thank Jess Coulter, Jan Peterson, Jessica Williams, Chris McCann, Jackie Gentry, Rick Watson, and our two fantastic advisors, Lori Starring and Jean Myers. A round of applause for them. So I'd also like to take a minute to thank the families and friends of our graduates who help support you in big and small ways. I have two kids in college now, and I know how important that support is in normal times. But it's been invaluable in these unprecedented times. So I'd like to ask the class of 2022 to stand up and give a big round of applause. Isn't that great? So these milestones are kind of emotional for us moms and dads and siblings and family members. We can't help, but I don't know if you know that commercial where the kid is like driving for the first time, but the dad sees the kid as a 2-year-old. So we can't help but think of the many wonderful memories of these graduates from when they were much younger and growing up. And here they are graduating from college. Your family and friends are so proud of you, the class of 2022. I've met many of them in the hall during our lunch. They have big smiles. They're so proud on this special day. But they may also have questions. Questions that they're afraid to ask, especially on this celebratory day. What can you do with a degree in political science? So I'm here to assure you, one of the best parts of my job as department chair is having the chance not only to work with these undergraduate students, but to meet our fabulous alumni who have already graduated and established their careers. So I can tell you that we have so many successful IU political science alumni working in a huge range of fields all over the country and even the world. So many people think that political science leads directly to law, or a job in the government, or, God forbid, a politician. That may be true for some, and I'm very proud of the ones who are starting law school this fall. But we also have alumni who are entrepreneurs and have founded their own startups, who have worked for major foundations, such as the Lilly Foundation, who have reported and analyzed politics for NPR and other media outlets, or become inspiring teachers and professors themselves. So I'm confident that this group of students is going to use their knowledge of politics and social science to ask the tough and important questions. They're resilient, they know how to adapt on the fly to new challenges with grace. They're innovative, they're smart, they don't just study for the test and spit back some simple response. They know how to read critically, how to gather data, how to understand big, complex problems in the world, and actually develop new solutions. Boy, do we need you, the class of 2022. There is no better time to study politics. We are very lucky to have this group of smart, hardworking, and flexible graduates ready to hit the ground with some new ideas. So congratulations to the class of 2022, and congratulations and many thanks to all of your families and friends and supporters of the class of 2022. So before we proceed with our program, because I'm pretty sure you didn't come to see me in my velvet hat, we are going to recognize where we are sitting. So Woodburn Hall, this building, is where the Department of Political Science is housed. This is a historic building on campus, made even more important by these murals. These murals were painted by Thomas Hart Benton. You may have seen a little bit of information as you walked in. But this space is no longer used for classroom instruction. In fact, you have to make a special request to the provost to use this space. And when you use the space, you're required to have some contextualization around some of the imagery in these videos. So, because we're such multimedia folks, we're going to show you a very brief video that does that. So please relax and enjoy a couple of minutes while we hear a little bit about these Thomas Hart Benton murals, and then we'll get off to the real fun stuff.
Thomas Hart Benton's Indiana murals are a celebrated and profound work of art. In 1933, the state of Indiana commissioned Benton to produce a mural for the Century of Progress exposition at the Chicago World's Fair. He painted an extraordinarily large-scale narrative cycle tracing Indiana's history from its early native peoples to the Great Depression. Benton believed that his murals needed to show all aspects of the state's history, even the ugly and uncomfortable parts, so we could confront the mistakes of the past. The mural came to our campus in 1939, and a few years later.
He is our Director of Graduate Studies, and he will be recognizing a few of our graduating PhD students. Thank you.
It's wonderful to see you all. I'm here to recognize our graduating PhD students, none of whom are here in person. I think a few hopefully on Zoom. The reason why they're not here in person is because they're already working in their the next phase of their life. But I also want to briefly say that I teach in the undergraduate program as well. And it's so fantastic to see so many faces that I recognize, some of whom I have only seen the top half of, or have only seen on a computer screen, except a couple of years ago. Others of whom I've had the pleasure to teach in the classroom. So I want to recognize you all while I have this moment as well. Thank you all for being here with your families. Our PhD students have accomplished an enormous task of trying to conduct research during a pandemic. Many of them would like to, or have tried to, or actually have conducted field research, which is difficult to do during a pandemic. A lot of whom have faced a lot of instability with respect to their career trajectory due to a pandemic. And as hard as this has been for our undergraduates, I can tell you, this is an even more difficult time for many of them. And so what they have accomplished would be impressive at any point. But just as with many of our undergraduates, it is a bit more impressive and important during this time. So I want to recognize Vivian Farillo for her dissertation, Hate and Political Identity Online. Vivian is now working at Texas Tech University. I would like to recognize Fatima Mustaq for her dissertation, which I was a committee member on, Financial Integration, Central Banks, and the Politics of Liquidity in the Global South. She is now working at Reed College in Portland, Oregon. I would like to recognize Rita Nasser for her dissertation, Threat, Rhetoric, and White Americans' Attitudes Towards Refugee Resettlement. She is now working in the private sector in Chicago. I would like to recognize Eric Schmidt for his dissertation, Voting in Groups, Thinking Like Ideologues, The Paradox of Partisan Conflict in the United States. He is now working at Concordia College. And I would like to recognize Volker Schmitz for his dissertation, Recognition in Critical Theory, Axel Hanna's contribution to the Frankfurt School. He is also now working at Texas Tech University. So please let's give a round of applause to our PhD graduates.
Now we're going to turn the podium over to our student speakers. I'd like to welcome Caitlin Brady for her remarks to the class of 2022.
Hi, everyone. First, I would like to thank the department for inviting me to speak today. And as we all know, we're here because we're graduating with degrees in political science. And as Professor McLean alluded to, we probably told someone that at some point and got a skeptical reaction like, why not do something more practical? Or is that really a science, right? So commencement might be late to take a step back and consider what we spent the last 4 years doing. But I think doing so will help us sort of think through how our degrees will shape how we think and act beyond this campus. So we studied power, who wields it and how they wield it. And we always also study people, so how they behave, how they think, and how we measure them. We might or might not pursue careers that are explicitly related to this topics. But regardless of where we choose to work or who we decide to become, we're going to continue to live in an American democracy that's in crisis and marked by minoritarian rule. All of us will continue to live in a world undergoing a democratic recession, a world where people are more divided and more comfortable with violence against their political opponents. And that's a world in which a scientific understanding of power will probably come in handy. I won't pretend that any one of us is going to single-handedly save American democracy through sheer force of will and reasoned debate. The political scientists I work with in this department would probably lose some respect for my ability to evaluate evidence if I did that. But our degrees should have widened our political imaginations and shown us that even if it's hard to change, our world doesn't have to be the way it is. Our world is the product of political choices, at the individual level, the social level, and the institutional. And we can make different ones. So let me give you an example of that. I've spent a lot of my time at IU working on our student paper, the Indiana Daily Student. And I reported on everything from white supremacist groups recruiting on our campus to IU Health and insurance companies price gouging patients. But the story that's closest to my heart is a story I reported on book access in Indiana prisons. My main source for that story was a man named Shaka Shakur. He was incarcerated for the attempted murder of a police officer, and he was first incarcerated at 16. If we define the state as the entity with a monopoly over legitimate violence, as many political scientists do, I'm willing to bet that he's experienced more flavors of that violence than anyone in this room. A lot of you probably came to quick judgments about Shaka when I told you why he's locked up. But it might surprise you to learn that he runs study groups in the prison yard and coordinates underground libraries for materials other prisoners would otherwise not be able to access, including legal and medical texts. He spoke passionately to me about his restricted book access and how that's connected to the critical race theory panic going on in our schools that threatens to restrict book access out here, outside of prison. And I'm not sure that I would have been able to report that story well if I hadn't studied in this department. The courses I took and the research I conducted helped me to think systematically about what it means to be a member of a democratic society and how we decide whether we're okay with state violence. So when I got off the phone with Shaka and started to write, I wrote with the knowledge that he had risked a lot by talking to me. I knew that I had more power than he did and less power than the Department of Corrections officials who refused to go on the phone with me. I wrote a story about a government agency that violated the First Amendment repeatedly and brazenly, and would go on to violate a settlement that it had just reached a few months earlier. I hope that makes me a watchdog, or at least the meddling kid I've always aspired to be. But I'm proud of the fact that I wrote a story that helped readers to take Shaka seriously as a fellow citizen who understands and cares about politics beyond the prison walls, even though he's incarcerated. Shaka Shakur studied in prison while we studied here. For all we know, we might have been reading Wretched of the Earth by Frantz Fanon at the same time. And all of us, and I believe including him, deserve to be taken seriously and treated with dignity and respect, because saying what happens to us into our communities. The main conclusions I came to because of the work I did here are as follows. We only care about democracy to the extent that we want to share our power with others. And so we should be aware of the power we have so that we can. I hope that's what we all go on to do. I know our paths will be different, but we'll all have to decide how we tell stories, how we pick sides, and whether we'll live to see time. Congratulations, everyone.
I think you now see what I mean. We are very fortunate to have these students from the class of 2022 to be our watchdogs for democracy. So thank you. I'd like to welcome now Hank Rupp, please.
Well, we did. To all my fellow graduates here, we did it. So I just want to say I want to thank the department for giving me the honor to speak as a representative on behalf of all of us political science graduates at this important occasion. And on behalf of those graduates, I would like to thank all of the parents here and family that helped us get to where we are now, because it sounds like a cliche, but with an exception to maybe a few of us in here, I don't think a lot of us would have gotten where we are now without such strong parental and family support and guidance. So thanks to all you parents here. My stepmom and my grandparents are here too. Grandma's making me nervous in the front right now. I'm just kidding. But so my first experience on the IU campus is probably a little bit different than a lot of you. I think I probably peed my pants, and you probably think, I don't know what reason you think it's for, but it's actually because I was probably 1 month old. So being born and raised right here in Bloomington, Indiana, I was worried. I thought I needed to get out of town for my college experience, and I couldn't have been more wrong. I think we all realize after being here, how many opportunities you get being at IU that you don't get just by living in Bloomington in the community. And so as students, we had so many incredible opportunities to get involved in the campus and culture here. I got the opportunity to be, I was a volunteer usher at the IU Auditorium where some of these Benton murals are. So I saw them a lot. I got to be a counselor, a volunteer counselor at Camp Kessom IU. And then the coolest thing I did was I got to spend a whole semester in Washington, D.C., working for the late Congressman Elijah Cummings in the United States House of Representatives, thanks to Professor Barbour's IU Paul's D.C. program. So that was incredible, and I'm sure all of you got to do all kinds of cool stuff too, like that. But as college graduates now, I think it's important that we know we have the responsibility to use our fortune in life and our IU education to engage with our world in a genuinely constructive way, and do what it takes to make the future a better one than what it often feels like we might be headed for now. So while graduation is certainly an accomplishment that we should all be very proud of, I think it's important that we use this gift that we are afforded as citizens to realize that most citizens do not have this opportunity that we're afforded. So let's commit together to use what we've learned and the skills we've developed and the inspiration cultivated in us by this IU faculty, and do our part to genuinely make the world a better place. So when I got an email a few weeks ago about possibly speaking here, they mentioned if I maybe play a song. And for a minute, I kind of thought it would be a little cheesy and weird if I played a song at our graduation commencement, and I hesitated, but I eventually realized that, music is one of the best ways that we as humans express emotion. And I think we're all feeling all kinds of different emotions right now on this occasion. Excitement a lot, but all kinds of different things. Maybe being a little bit scared about going into the real world. So I picked a song to play that my dad wrote about 20 or 30 years ago. Not giving you his age there, but I think it fits well into this theme of the passing of time and us going into a new chapter in our lives and kind of the rite of passage that we're all experiencing now. So I played this song probably more than any other song in my room. I'm gonna play it for you. I hope you guys can relate in your own way. You can play it and now sing. Sometimes I go out walking along to the place where we used to go, where our love was young. We made those plans. The moon was full and I was holding your hand in the moonlight. I can see your face and I can feel the warmth, your embrace, the night wind on my feet, the grass on my skin. Sometimes I just wish I could live it all over again. The other day I drove past my old school back where me and my friends thought we were so darn cool. I thought a lot of these hometown kids, remembered all the stupid things that we did. The ups were ups, the downs were down, and I felt like something in this town I never thought much about, where I'd never been. Sometimes I just wish I could live it all over again. But the rain falls and the sun shines and the seasons change. So does my mind, and I don't think I'll be get in my car and drive those straight flat roads to my grandparents' farm. You know, grandma's changed, granddad died. Don't have much to keep her occupied. I can smell the hogs, see miles of corn where we go fishing down by the reservoir where he laughed with me. I laugh with him. Sometimes I just wish I could live it all over again. I can't believe how you've grown. I'm thinking each day, I love you so much, I don't know how I can say how I feel when I watch you laugh and cry. For a while I saw wondering how and why things are how they are. All I wanna be is your father and friend. I'm starting to see that in a way, you're where I began, and in a way I might do some of it over again. But the rain falls and the sun shines and the seasons change. So does my mind, and I think I might live some of it over again. Yeah, well, I think I might live some of it over again.
I don't want to tell you before, but a little bit of a country music star right here in Bloomington. Plays at the Bluebird and other places around, so we didn't even give you a cover charge. And you're gonna say, I knew him when. So, thank you, Hank and Caitlin, for sharing. All of our students are so talented, but we're really appreciative of your words on this special day. I wanna welcome up right now one of our fan favorite professors, Professor Yassi Galecki. He is also our Director of Undergraduate Studies for a few remarks and to begin our procession.
Thank you very much, everybody. Before I actually start off, I would like to thank Caitlin and Hank. So let's give them another round of I ain't no singer, so let me say a few words. It grows without a song. My name is Yassi Galecki. I'm the Director of Undergrad Studies here. And I'm really, truly delighted and honored to be here at this very special moment. I'm very much aware that this is a huge moment for all of you graduates. You're about to leave IU, but leaving IU should not imply that this is the end, beautiful friend. Rather, it is the beginning of another journey. This time, a real journey, a journey into the real life. Now, when you go down the memory lane, when you look at the years back, let's say your high school years, you will see that college years were different. Your life at IU, I dare say, was different from your high school years. You manage your own time, manage your own schedules, you actually had free time between class. But unlike in high school, you actually were not told what to do. You were much more independent. No doubt about that. You were in full control of who would you become. However, and let's be absolutely frank with you, college is not real life. It is really an incubator of sorts. It is a place intended to foster your self-development, your own searches. It is a place created by us, actually, to help you engage in your own self-discoveries. Our goal was to provide you with the environment, kind of artificial environment, in many ways, to help you figure out what to do in life. And I certainly hope that all of us faculty, our staff, as well as anyone that you encounter at IU actually help you with that. After all, as a friend, we are being paid to do it. But you're about to get out of sleep today. There's no doubt. And you're about to embark on the longest journey in your life. Your journey through the real life, your experiences. Let me tell you, there will be bills, 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 and more bills. You'll be out on your own. You'll be out in new places. You'll be surrounded by newly found people. And by the way, you can say goodbye to spontaneous programs. But I really want you to look at the bright side about this life. You and only you can make this new life a truly inspiring journey. What journey? Hell, it's really up to you. I won't tell you. You will figure it out on your own. But when you embark on this real journey, I want you to remember a few things. Something that I would like to bring up for your consideration. Life is not only about what to do, but perhaps first and foremost about how to be. And therefore, let me say three things that I want you to ponder about, consider, or at least remember. So do me a favor and think about those three things. Life, in my eyes, and I truly believe, I'm a true believer in that, should be a never-ending journey of self-discovery, of self-improvement. In real life, we should see things through our own eyes, not somebody else's, but our own. We should ask questions, look for answers, but don't settle for easy answers. So easy and so cheap to settle for them. Be contrarian if needed. And don't buy into rubbish. And I really mean it. Think about, simple things and simple questions. Take Edward Scissorhands. You know what? I'm talking about the movie. I'm sure you watched this movie for some time. So what's this movie about? It's about a movie about a guy who's got fingers like scissors, right? Sure. Maybe it is finally time to ask the very important existential question. How did he use the bathroom? So when you're pondering this question, let's move to something more serious. You've been learning some stuff here, it's called knowledge, right? And then you're in the real world, in real life. And perhaps you'll realize, for good reason, that imagination is more important than knowledge. Think about it for the next 50 years. Perhaps to talk about more serious stuff here. Perhaps you will realize that you should remember what other people want you to forget, even though there will be a price to pay for remembering. Think about it for the next 50 years. So this is the first thing I want you to think about. Here's the second one. You'll have a job. Let me assure you, you already have a job for your life. You have a job. Don't worry. College will give you a degree, right? This handy license to the middle class. And assurance that you'll be making money without having to lift things, mental and social. But think about your job, not only as your part that identifies you, but in many ways, perhaps job is only a tax that you pay to life. So I'm bringing something up for you. I'm bringing up something for your consideration about the job that you will have. Life, perhaps true life, begins after 5, after you turn your computer on. Life is not happening in the economic cubicle. So do me a big favor. Don't become a creature out of Greek mythology. Half human, half death. And the third part, perhaps the most difficult one. It may not be easy, but if I have one wish, all of you graduates, it will be try to become the most complete human being that ever lived on this world. Perhaps that's key to happiness. That's always my guess. This completeness is a key to being happy. So I would like all of you to want to be the best, happiest person ever. And again, a fair warning, guys. Make sure you're happy in real life. Not on Facebook, not on Twitter, not on Instagram. So those are the three things. So I started off actually by quoting the Doors. This is the end, beautiful friend. So let me quote another musical icon much closer to my generation, the Ramones. Gabba gabba hey. Now guys, you are one of us. You are one of the adults. So let me finish by something that I will always remember. 4 words from a poet, actually a Ukrainian poet. I remember him. I remember reading him because before it was fashionable to quote things Ukrainian. So Taras Shevchenko, referring to Taras Shevchenko, once said, "Struggle on and be triumphant." So struggle on and be triumphant. You might not perhaps even realize now how prepared you are to embark on this journey to be triumphant. Thank you, guys. Here we go. Before you start being triumphant and you start walking on real life, we have here a procession of undergrads. This is the time to actually recognize all of you, newly graduates, and get, of course, the goodie bag, known as the swag bag. So let me tell you what. It will be a time for a victory lap, so to speak. We'll be asking you, graduates, from the very far end, you're kind of in the 10th row, this is where it ends, but I see a familiar face sitting right over there. Yes, you're at the end, but you'll be the first. Doesn't happen often in life, but this is what will happen. Sit down, don't get up. We'll ask you guys to approach Lori, our advisor, and then your little piece of paper, and you'll be formally introduced and acknowledged, and then please proceed to our chair, Lauren. This will be a follow-up opportunity, so you parents, this will be the moment to take pictures. We will also be taking pictures. So please walk back to on my right-hand side to the place where you were seated. Deal? You're getting it, right? So let me start off with the familiar face. Here we go.
All right, welcome everybody. Jared Johns is also having a. All right. Jared Johns also is majoring in economics and hopes to, after IU, work in campaign politics. So I think with this, you know,
Our photographer is right here. So,
great. This is Brian Thomas Robusto. He also Great. This is Amelia Fair. She also has French major and a criminal justice minor. And Amelia will be attending the University of Texas at Law School at Austin School of Law as an attorney. So they hope to practice criminal law one day in public forums. Kira Howlett. Kira is a double major of African American and African diaspora studies. She plans to attend law school in the fall of 2023 to continue advocacy for and representing individuals in the legal field and society as a whole. Additionally, she will continue pursuing her passion for storytelling to uplift the voices and stories which have traditionally been omitted. Congratulations. Jalen Claire Walters. Jalen has a minor in comparative lit, and she says her plans are to start working post-graduation. Then I hope to attend law school in the following year. Congratulations. Also having degrees in business psychology, and she is planning to go to law school, but undecided as when. Congratulations, Dr. Elizabeth Colin Pabalino. She's a applied science major, and her hopes and plans are to be happy and successful in whichever profession she chooses. Congratulations. And then Tyler Sobel. Ben also has an issue with political science, a business minor, and plans to attend law school at Rutgers. Congratulations. Rotate through, I think, all of them. And Jacob Lindsay. Jacob also is a journalism major, and he plans to work in public relations. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, Charlene, it has been wonderful to work with you folks. You've been through so much, and you've done it with such poise, such maturity. I've just been astounded over the course of these 4 years. Thank you so much. I apologize for doing this, but I've just been amazed by this footwork. So I have Micaiah, wonderful. Micaiah Carter is African and African American studies minor. Micaiah is planning on attending law school in 2023. Congratulations. Alice and Daniel Frank is a business minor, of course, focused on this. Kay has also worked as paralegal before planning to continue to law school. You will work. All right, I'm going to work my intensive. Alex, your handwriting is good as mine, so sorry. Alex Roxnagel, and also has a major, or no, a minor in history. Oh, there is a pronunciation on this. I missed this. It's why they made it a professor. Sorry. Congratulations. Ray Shira. Ray has a certificate in French and is planning to go and work in the State Department. Ray said hi, Mom. Did you all hear that? Go for it. Ruhan Hussein Syed, that's right. Syed. Well, I'm getting that mistake. Is a liberal arts management certificate, Middle Eastern languages and culture minor, and hopes to work in Washington, D.C. Next up is Nathaniel Wine Zappel. He's also doing Earth and Atmospheric Science, has a BA, a Spanish minor, and is planning to travel to Europe. You can go. Oh, that's great. Zachary, how you doing, Zach? That's been my class. Zach is a wonderful student. Zachary Smith is planning to attend the law school bar. Is it full studies? No, I'm already. Oh, great. Congratulations. You can tell me this. Players of the studio, it's quite a pleasure to be with you and to see all the great faces go to the next couple of slides. Joshua Robson, also a man in economics, and he was commissioned as an officer in the Marine Corps after graduation. And he hopes to eventually go to grad school to study international relations. Richard Dane Severin. He's also a British studies minor, and he plans to go to law school and become a judge. Isaac Murdoch. He also has three minors. With IR, International Relations, Economics, and African Language. And after graduation, he plans to continue to pursue family politics. In June, he heads to the State House, where he will be staff assistant to the Director for Drug Prevention, Treatment and Enforcement Agency. Virgil Cornelius. After graduation, he will be working with the Grant Thornton as a public sector advisory associate. In this role, he will assist clients from federal, state, and local government and international organizations to provide them with financial, technology, and performance. Big words. And Brandon Green is a computer science philosophy major, informatics certificate, and in technology. He also was technology minor in global media minor. That's quite a bit. Very impressive. Very well rounded. And of course, Rachel Harris, one of my favorite students, with a journalism major. I just finished reading her paper. It was very impressive paper. How about not breaking any laws with bulging that? She will be working in marketing and communications for the School of Health and Human Sciences at NUI. That's your way. It's going to spike chain logistics. Capital use. Psychology major and then still not a media studies minor, and he will do paralegal work for a year or two, and then go to law school. Aiden Batista. He's also a history minor, and hasn't decided what to do yet, and that's part of the fun of life adventure. And Cassidy McCammon. She's a management of student organization major local engagement certificate. Yeah. And she plans to teach academy and organizing really that back. Gabrielle Henry Verdini. Studies and she's working full-time as a student analyst with the first consultant contact for and pursued a master's in security studies at Georgetown University. He minors in international studies and East Asian studies, and he will be working at Accenture Federal Services as strategy and consulting analyst. That's very, very Joshua Goldberg, also a minor in psychology and a minor in philosophy, and he's going to law school as a Moore School of Law. And stay right here. David Belcher is also a minor in history. And Belcher attended law school and made a difference in the world. Happy Zahir, major in philosophy
and political science. Mine is Spanish and law and public policy. So we are very happy that you had Professor Willard come to me. The accent can be helpful sometimes. And planning to start at Illinois, planning to start at Illinois State, Illinois Law School, in a very shaping for very effective. Having done this, he also is a major in philosophy, and he attended Boston University School of Law. Oh, impressive. Alec Hobson, also a business mind. And he made it for philosophy. Peter Lavier is also a minor in anthropology and helps New York City or DC to pursue advocacy for nonprofit work. Jason would know. I find it very popular. Mine is in history and gender studies. If you turn to Bloomington in August to pursue a JD at the Warren School of Law, after that, who knows? Panic move. No, but you're living my fantasy. Going to Los Angeles. Nathan Rosner is also a minor in Spanish and going to be working on Capitol Hill University following graduation. Later, either at law school or graduate school. And Alison McBride is also an English speaker, Spanish and political mind. She'll be staying with Bloomfield to attend the Warren School of Law very well. Hank Brown is also a minor in psychology, and he plans to work in the music industry. Of course. Katie Rai. Katie Rai. Katie Rai. Minor is also in Spanish, French studies again for analysis workshop, and she'll be working as a data intern at Shopee, nonprofit news outlet that reports on public education for the summer. After that, she hopes to continue working in nonprofit news. Very nice. Elizabeth McAvoy. She's also a law and public policy PSPA, and she will be deputy data director at the State Democratic Party.
I don't know.
Very, very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, some of the staff is here, a little jealous of dating, and I'm going to read me out the pattern. So, hold on, is that right? So that's it. I'm about to release you. What a fabulous celebration. We are so happy to be here to celebrate the class of 2022. Can we give them one more round of applause? Instruction for these guys. So we gave you a little bit of swag in the bag. Cool stickers with ID political signs you put it on our laptop or water bottle, think as always. But there's more. So as you see, we're trying to be sustainable, we need these things back. So we're incentivizing you to not take off with your little name tag. Because we have a t-shirt that says IU Political Science. So if, as you exit, there'll be a table out there. If you turn in your little name badge, you get a t-shirt. What's better than that? In addition, we have a number of students from the IU Political Science DC internship program. And I think there was a call for a group picture. So we might do some group pictures after with families, but also the IU Political Science DC internship group. So finally, we in the department just want to say thank you to all the family and supporters. Thank you to the students for being such great students and enlivening the conversations in all of our classrooms. Keep us posted. We're here. Keep in touch. Pay attention. Follow us on social media. Let us know when you do something interesting and exciting, and we will continue to brag about you. So keep us posted, and we look forward to seeing all of your next